Hello, welcome back. Thank you for joining me. As the title of this video suggests, we're going to talk about the entire spiritual path in just one conversation. All of it. There is, in fact, a message in that. The video that you're currently watching is, of course, the most important spiritual video. It's the only one you're watching right now. Now, if you've got three or four screens, then they're all the most important. But which are you paying attention to? Wholly and completely. I'm just asking for a friend. The entire spiritual path can be boiled down to just a couple of ideas. Really, just one. God is. Okay. The end. If you're not familiar with A Course in Miracles, welcome. If you're not familiar with spiritual traditions that we refer to as non-dual, again, welcome. God is. That's really as close as we are able to come to the knowledge of God, to the experience of God, of knowing God. That's as close as we can come to truth in words. What is implicit in that two-word statement, indeed, it's two syllables only, is that only God is. God is the only reality. Now, don't feel like you're not a part of this. First of all, you're not a body, which you know, and I know you know that. Does not mean in any way that you need to acknowledge that right now. You will, and you have. That's why you're interested in spirituality, because we all have. Even if we're suffering aches and pains or a chronic condition or whatever the case may be here in the world, whatever that situation may look like at the moment, we're all on the spiritual path because at some point we've paid attention to the message of our inner teacher and his call for us to awaken, which is constant. At some point we have listened and we have formulated the thought that there's more to it. There's more to it than this. There's more to it than getting up tomorrow morning and going to work again and paying the bills. That's important. Yeah, yeah, of course. But there's more to it than that. In fact, this can't possibly be the Son of God. It comes to an end. There's more to it. Yes, you've always known. God extends himself. Another way of approaching this that you may find more helpful, love extends itself. Like extends like. It does not extend unlike. Like extends like. God creates us. We're the created, the Son of God. God creates by sharing himself completely, totally, without fragmentation of any kind which he does not know. It's impossible. There is only perfect oneness. We are the extension, the thought of God. Thoughts remain in the mind of the thinker in the very well-known words from this course. Ideas leave not their source. capital S. We're all the all, capital A. At some point, you may have allowed that to sink in. If you have not, we've all an opportunity right now. So, here in the world, the most difficult thing we find is giving over control of every situation to our inner teacher. We are all control freaks. I mean, we would readily label certain people control freaks. You might label yourself one, and maybe you are in the eyes of the world. We have all attempted to do this. We have all attempted to manipulate, yes, manipulate, orchestrate, order, and control things, all compound phenomena, people, events, situations, the weather, the stock market, global finances, everything. We've sought to manipulate it to our own ego driven ends. And what has that brought us? Maybe some temporary satisfaction, maybe a hot, sexy weekend on the beach, or a really hot, steamy relationship with somebody, or a ton of money, or a cool car, or a vacation on the Greek Isles. I don't really know. Any number of permutations are possible here in this world. What's directly relevant is that we all want the same thing, the peace of God, which is what we are. Remember the conversation we just had, and that verbal math that 1 equals 1. We find giving over control mortally threatening. I know. In fact, we'd rather die than give over control to our inner teacher. We are so stubborn that we would rather let this dissipate and decay and suffer mightily along the way than give over our entire experience to our inner teacher in the service of healing the mind. We'd rather be right than happy. That's another way of putting that. So stubborn, yeah? It's not intended to be flattering. I'm fond of saying, and I repeat frequently, that spirituality is for grown-ups. It is. It's an adult endeavor because in giving over all of our experience to our inner teacher for his purposes, for its purposes of healing the mind, for that, we're invited to take a look at all of our dark BS. That's putting it mildly. Yeah. All of our stuff that we prefer to keep hidden. Yes. When we continue to hide it, it continues to gnaw at us. Persistently, consistently. We're invited to bring it to the light. Bring our darkness to the light. What happens? The light shines it away. It's as though the darkness were never there. And guess what? There is no separation of any kind. It was never there. This is a dream. This total dream image. I mean, clearly, it's an assemblage of electronic dots. That is a dream image. We just want to do it our way. And what has that gotten us? Well, it might have gotten us that vacation in the Greek Isles, which would be pretty cool, with some fabulous ouzo and wine and food laced with garlic and nice green olive oil, maybe. That sounds kind of nice, huh? Well, not even that is the peace of God. See, that vacation ends. The peace of God does not end. It is eternal. You are eternal. You know who, what, and where you are. You know this. Doesn't mean that you have to allow yourself to go there. Pixelated image on your screen can't make you. It is not in charge of you. Thank God. But you're invited to go there. Yeah. This course is incredibly profound and direct. It's what we say we want, directness. We insist in life that people cut right to the chase. What's the bottom line? Get right to the point. Don't waste my time. Yet what do? We waste our own time. Too much, yeah? We're invited not to. And before we can make the decision not to, we've got to become aware that that's what's going on. Hence the repetition from this course and all spiritual traditions, which say the same thing over and over. Yeah. You may think, okay, well, I'm tired of this tradition. I'm sick of that modality. I want to go do this one for a while, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, most people that become interested in A Course in Miracles in this lifetime have a background in another tradition or more than one. So, whatever your background is or is not, you're absolutely where you're supposed to be right now. So just know that. That's very powerful. We're invited to give situations, events, relationships over to the Holy Spirit rather than attempt to control them ourselves. What has our attempt to control gotten? Well, it has not gotten us the peace of God. Why? Because we cannot guarantee when we attempt to run off as little ego self, manipulating and attempting to dominate all life forms. I mean, it is kind of funny when you think about it. Sense of humor is great on the path, as you well know. If we don't have the ability to laugh at our own folly, then that means we've got a ways to go. Yeah. I mean, we attempt to order and control everything. It's needless. We can't guarantee when we attempt to do everything ourselves. We can't guarantee a maximum positive and beneficial, deeply impactful and beautiful, loving result for every single living thing throughout space and time. Yes, past, present, future, throughout space and time. Can we? We cannot guarantee that. In fact, most of what we do ends up blowing up in our faces pretty quickly, if not right away. But the Holy Spirit can guarantee this. So we're invited repeatedly over and over to give over power and control. Give over power and control. Does that sound threatening to the ego? Yeah, it might seem mortally threatening and you may be terrified. Here's another message about spirituality in a nutshell on a platter. You are not alone. You have support. You have guidance. You are welcome to seek this guidance from another pixelated image on your screen, from another person, from a book, from a group of people. That is available. When you do that, know that it's the Holy Spirit that's speaking to you. Your guidance is built in, it's part of our mind. We don't actually even need to go anywhere to find it. However, your inner teacher may direct you to watch more of these videos. Your inner teacher may direct you to subscribe to this channel. Couldn't resist that. If you haven't already, that's the prompt. Your inner teacher may direct you to do any number of different things. The important thing is that you're listening. That's so, so important. In fact, the magnitude of that is something that I wish to emphasize. It's huge. It's as close as we can come in words to the magnitude, the sheer magnitude of stepping aside, even for a fraction of a second, and letting your inner teacher take control. You have support, ask for it. Ask Pixelated Image for support if you need it. Ask someone you trust for support. And more importantly, and first and utmost, ask your inner teacher for support and guidance. He will respond immediately. The question for each and every one of us then becomes, are we listening? And if we are, which is great, we're invited to act upon it because this is how we learn in spirituality. It's not a matter of asking someone, do you believe in this? Do you believe in that? God is the only reality. We've always known. So it's not a matter of, do you believe this happened in historical time? There is no historical time. Time is an illusion, like space, like bodies, like the world itself, which is why I often refer to it simply for what it appears to be, a spinning ball of rock. We've taken it to be our home. We've taken this device to be our home, which we know is not. It's not who we are. We don't have to continue to insist that it is. But we've been heavily conditioned to believe that it is. So, what spirituality looks like for almost all of us is a process, a gradual process of undoing the ego and setting it aside. So, what we do is when there's fear present, we simply allow ourselves to be led as far as we're able and willing to go on a given day, in a given moment. And who knows how far that is? Your inner teacher knows exactly how far that is. And in his infinite love, will not push you beyond that. If you don't feel capable of forgiving this person today, forgive someone whom you can. We start where we are. That famous world spiritual phrase. We do what we're called to do on a given day. Who knows what that is? Your inner teacher, of course. There's a theme in all of this. And we do this gradually, if we must. But the call to awaken is irresistible. That's why you're here. Our attraction for God, for our real home, is irresistible. It's why we're here. It's why we're on the spiritual path. And at one point, you have stated, whether it was verbally to other people or to yourself, or whether it was in your mind, that you want to go home, so to speak, that you want the peace of God. This course invites you to cultivate that directly. It's an idea in the workbook for students. I want the peace of God. It's all we want when you really allow yourself to think about it. It's all we want because that is all there is. So this course may appear to have thousands and thousands of words and pages, which it does, but the ideas are extraordinarily simple. So my hope is that this conversation and all of these conversations have inspired you to practice. That's how we learn in spirituality. This talking head on your screen has no authority over you, for which said talking head is very thankful. Who wants that? No thanks. Yeah. This course is not hierarchical, it is self study. So we take what we're willing to take at any given time. We allow ourselves to be led as far as we're able and willing to allow ourselves to be led on a given day. Then we get up the following day and do it all again. And as you do it, it becomes joyful. Want to try it? Yeah? I invite you to join me. All right. Thank you so much. Questions are more than welcome. If you are newer to this material or brand new, it doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make any difference if you are what we would refer to in the world as a seasoned professional veteran, a 30 plus year course student. They're out there. It doesn't make any difference what your experience with this material is. This course is universal in both theme and application. It makes no difference what your background is or is not. It makes no difference what traditions you're currently studying, if any. Absolutely no difference at all. Should you have questions, I invite you to ask them. The questions that feel like beginner questions are the best. Always the best. Why? Because they're what we all need to hear over and over. And it could be that in your asking a question right here in the comment thread, that you will benefit the path, the trajectory of somebody on the other side of the world whom you're highly unlikely to ever meet in person in this lifetime. We can influence each other that powerfully, which is why I turn on the camera and microphone several times a week. Questions are great if you've got them. And if you have, please feel welcome to ask them and subscribe. Again, if you haven't, the prompt is here. Please join us. I'll talk to you very soon.